Hey folks, how are you? Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, Ancestrylands.com. It's sweltering outside. Again, we're in the midst of the Midwest heat wave that is now moving up through the Northeast. And while it's hot outside, my mind is circulating on other things more relevant. And one thing I want to talk to you all about is stop waiting on others to start your success. Oftentimes, people are looking for affirmation, confirmation, and all types of ways of assuring themselves that other people can join on to the bandwagon of success before it is even started. And if you talk to anyone that is a self-made millionaire, anyone that's been successful in business, anyone that's done something with their lives where they've had to take the risk and the chance and the risk of failure and the chance to be successful, you'll get your ass across that street, boy. They'll let you know that no one was along that ride and that journey with them to be successful. There was no people signing up to invest in them at the initial point where they started to join or start on their journey to become successful. A lot of times when people are truly looking to become successful, they're doing it alone. They're doing it without people joining in and saying they believe in them. They're doing it without people saying that, hey, I think you're going to be successful. I think this is going to work out. I think this is going to happen. It's not always the case. And 90% of the time, most of the cases are going to be, you're going to have to go in and go do it alone. You're going to have belief in yourself, like I talked about in my video yesterday. You're going to have to believe in you more than everyone else combined. But a lot of times, people are waiting on other people to be okay with them being successful. There are people in this world who are looking for others' approval in order for them to be happy with their success. You're waiting for other people to acknowledge you, that you're successful. You're waiting for that girl to show you she's interested. You're waiting for your parents to say they're proud of you. You're always waiting on someone else to prove that you're successful. But what if no one else told you that? What if no one in the world told you were successful, but you were having success? Is that okay for you? It's like a pretty girl or a beautiful woman. No one ever tells her she's beautiful, even though she is beautiful. But she needs someone to confirm or affirm her beauty. So I have to wonder, are you successful because the value is from what's within? Or do you need some external stimuli to let you know that you are successful? Which one is it? Does Michael Jordan need people to tell him he's the GOAT in order for him to be the GOAT? Does he need people to tell him how great he is? Or does he live in his own plane of existence, understanding that his numbers, his stats, and everything else that he's managed to accomplish prove that he is amongst the greatest, even if no one tells him? When you're starting out a business, you're starting in the business world, a business venture, it is very hard, even with success, to have people that are supportive of your success. And you're asking for support from people who never even took the risk, never even took the thought, never even took a chance at being successful. In the same way that you're looking to start. They never had the courage, the gall to step out there into the unknown, and you're looking for support from those same people who never had the courage to validate you. And you wonder why they can't. Even if they can, they still will never appreciate the journey that you're on because they've never been there. They've never walked through those steps. If you're a person who's never been poor, then you won't appreciate wealth and everything else the same as a person who came and got it from out the mud. because they know what it's like to not have. They know what it's like to not have and need. They know what it's like to not have and want out of life. They know that journey. They know that struggle very intimately. So when they get to the point where they have things in life, the road was different for them. Does that mean you're wrong because you have it? No. But again, people who have it, people who are wealthy, tend to stay with people who are like them, so they don't have to be fearful of people who don't understand what that life is like. People who are not in the struggle don't want to be around people who are struggling. You know why? Because again, they've got to feel some kind of way about their own success. Their success has to always be measured against who does not have. And no one wants to live like that. No one wants to live where they have to be afraid of success. But again, you got to get yourself around people who are successful and understand why people are like that. It's not their fault. It's your fault. It's your responsibility, because you've got to get around people who are going in the same place as you, who are moving in the same direction as you are, who understand the goals you're trying to accomplish and succeed in life, and value that because they are looking to do the same. Now, Michael Jordan is not hanging out in the hood. The reason why is that he's got to hang around people at that level. Water seeks its own level. And the level is trying to seek is people that don't offer resistance to that level that you're trying to get to, or the level that you are currently at. So you've got to stop looking for people who are not at your level. And when I say not at your level mentally, that's your level economically. People that look to you and validate that you are in the same way, same area of business, same area of focus, study, mindset, etc., etc., that confirms that you are there. Now, again, what did I say? I know you might be saying, well, hold on, that's a little confusing considering what you're saying earlier, and I'm not saying something different. I'm actually saying the same thing. You don't need people to confirm that you are successful, or you need to start being successful. You need people to confirm and affirm that you need to be at the same place they are because they're successful. Their acceptance of you is affirmation enough. But you don't need people who are lower than you, who've never stepped out into that journey, to affirm and confirm that you are successful. I don't look to my brother, who's a teacher. No slight on my brother. Shout out to my brother Jules. He's a teacher. But I don't look to him to validate me as a businessman. I look to other businessmen and other business people to validate that I can be in the same room, to have conversations, to discuss, to learn, and also teach any point of view that I have, to be a figure of authority in that room. I don't need Michael Jordan's confirmation that I'm a good nurse. I look to other nurses to confirm that. Because Michael Jordan, despite how great he is, he's not the same level of me when it comes to healthcare. No more than I could affirm he's the great, because again, he's not looking for Phillip Davis, the nurse, Phillip Davis, the owner of Ancestry lands, Phillip Davis, the author of Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, available on Amazon and in the description section below. He's not looking for me to affirm his greatness, because I'm not a basketball player. You see what I'm saying? You don't look for people who are not in your lane, in your level, to verify, validate, and confirm that you are of substance in that field, an authority in that field, to validate that you've made it, that you're successful. You look to the people that are in that realm to validate that you're successful. You cannot wait on your mother, your father, your daddy, your uncle, your brother, your sister, your grandmother. You can't wait on them to validate and tell you it's okay to start. You can't look at them, because what would you be doing? If anybody said it in the chat, you got it. You'd be looking behind. Because again, if they never walked that walk, if they never took that step, then they are where you left them. They're not walking alongside you. They're not walking ahead of you. They're behind you, looking at where you're going, seeing if you'll end up where you say you're going to end up at. What does that mean? They're waiting for you to make it or fail. When you got people doing that, you got to make sure that you're not looking to them for any validation. They can't validate something that they have no validity in validating, right? Why? You wouldn't go to a lawyer for teaching advice. In elementary school, wouldn't go to a lawyer. You wouldn't go to a lawyer for something that you would go to an elementary school teacher to ask advice on when it comes to educating your kid, unless the lawyer was somehow valid in the area of teaching elementary, right? No more than I would go to a teacher for legal advice. So again, I'm not waiting on a teacher to tell me where to start in a legal process. I'm going to look to a lawyer to do that, because we would be in the same field. I'd be looking for them in the area they're an expert in. I'd be looking for validation in an area where a person is an expert in, to validate that I have the right expertise, correct? And that's what you got to understand about life. You should understand your friends are going to not like something they can't understand, or something they didn't take the courage to do. Because every day that you become successful, that's something I've learned. Every day that I become successful, for the people who did not have the courage to start it in their life, they're going to resent me. Because what I'm doing is showing a mirror on something that they never ever thought that I could accomplish, and let alone that they can't themselves accomplish. Because if they could, they would have done it. If they could, they would have started. There have been times in my life where I've looked at my wife and told her, don't get in my way. I'm going on a journey to risk failing or succeeding, and you cannot be an obstacle to block me in that path. Real talk. And I did that early. I set that precedence in my relationship early. When my wife was my girlfriend, she had a choice whether she wanted to be with a man who was dedicated to a qualified outcome, or a guy who was sagging his pants, looking good, playing the part of a bum that is now in life. Somebody who didn't do anything. Somebody who looks rich but doesn't actually have the fundamentals and the things to have long lasting. Their wealth ran out because they didn't have any wealth to begin with. It's all a facade. Getting out of cars that you can't make payments on, getting out of cars that you use as a rental. You can't show your own car because your car is hoopty, talking about wealth and generation, right? Because again, people equate wealth to cars. Cars that people drive every day. Doctors drive Mercedes every day. Porsches every day. They're not cars of the wealth. They're cars of the people who have credit and can make payments, which is anyone. You want to look at a car that you're looking at wealth, you talk about Bugattis, Aston Martins, McLarens. Things that have the price cost of homes. Because again, those things that are collectibles are things that are their hobbies. They can buy them in more than one. This is not a car of wealth. This is a car of transportation, a family car, because I take this car every day. Well, you know, truck, whatever. But this is not an indicator of wealth. You ever look at the things that really are talking when people talk about wealth? When people talk about wealth, they're never the things that, when wealthy people have things, they're not pretty, beautiful things. They're things that have a value that are around us every day, just like land, just like real estate, right? They might own BlackRock's buying homes, but no one said they're buying $1 million homes. They're amassing wealth by buying up real estate, but no one said that the real estate was the best looking house on the block. No one said that that house had an updated HVAC system. They're buying real estate, they're buying land with a building or structure on top of it, regardless of whether it's the best home on the block or the worst home on the block. They buy the block because they understand the land is the wealth. Something I keep trying to teach and impart upon in my videos. Something I keep trying to touch on in these videos. The reason why I keep saying go to ancestrylands.com and get yourself some property. Own property or you'll be owned as property. Because once they take away the ownership from you, you now have to rent or lease. It's just like cars that you lease, right? You can't go over a certain amount of mileage, right? You can only do a certain amount of here. If you do that, you can't do that. If you do this, we're going to hit you with another cost and price. Again, you don't own the car, you're leasing the car, which is pretty much an extended term of rental. And what do? They place all these stipulations on what you can and can't do with the car. You can't even put rims on a car. You can't update something. If anything you do over this goes over, you got to pay extra for that. And hell, when you get the car and you drive off the lot, whatever they're renting or leasing it to you for, it's already done lost that value to begin with. And who the hell buys something that you're already losing value on it the second you own it, and you're going to continue to make payments on it, and it's going to continuously lose value and be worth less when you go to sell it later? I mean, who does that? But somehow we've got it in our mind that this process is better because it's more updated and blah, blah, blah. Again, that's why what they're doing, they're taking ownership away from you bit by bit. You can't trade in something that you do not own. You're only giving it back. And again, you got to change your mindset because you're being programmed every single day to continue to be on that, what is that? On that roller coaster, on that hamster wheel. You're just going to keep running it, keep running it, keep running it, keep running until what? Your time runs out. Then you look back on your life and say, what was it all good for? What was I doing in the first place? What was I looking to accomplish and achieve when everyone dictated to me how I had to live, what I could do, how much I could spend, how much I could do this, and I had no ownership in my life. Never once did I have my own life in my own hands. So the question is, what are you going to do now? I'll tell you. You're going to go to ancestrylands.com. You're going to start something that you're going to build. You're going to go and buy a property. You're going to pay that off. $1,000 down, $250 a month, no interest, no credit checks. Then when you're done there, you're going to buy another property. And you're going to keep rinsing and repeating until you've got property to leverage and sell off at a time, because the land keeps increasing in value. It appreciates in value. You know why? Because people need to live there. When BlackRock's done buying up all the homes and all the corporations are buying homes, they'll start looking to land next. Because again, they know someone else is going to start building, and then they're going to offer homes on empty land when there are no more homes to buy, or the homes can't be bought because they're too expensive now. Why are they buying houses that are $350,000 to $500,000? You know why? Because again, they're removing wealth from everyone, because you can't attain home ownership unless you are wealthy and have the income. But if you don't have the income, you need another thing called leverage, which is why we take loans. But you need something other than a good credit and a down payment in order to offer up as leverage. How do you do that? You do that by having something tangible that you can exchange for leverage, like land. Everybody gets one piece of property, and I'm like, great, okay. So let's say you sold that for more than what I sold it to you for. So you went to Ancestry Lands, you got yourself a property, you paid, $18,000 to me, and tomorrow you're selling it for $50,000. Okay, great, good job. Now what do you do after that? Because you don't have any more property, right? You've only used your leverage one time. So in the next 5 years, if you need leverage again, what are you going to do? How are you going to get leverage? Well, now you got to go and buy another property. But guess what? My prices don't went up. Now you got to pay more instead of you building and continuously building to leverage at any time. But you can't do that because you're doing everything in a reactive way, not a proactive person. I didn't buy one piece of property. I bought multiple properties so I could always be in a state of leveraging. I can teach this, I can tell you it, but if you're not going to do it, well then guess what? You're going to have to pay for it by learning it on your own. That's called the School of Hard Knocks. I don't think I would ever be in front of this camera on a YouTube channel. I would have never written a book had I not owned land. I wouldn't have the knowledge, experience, the wisdom to teach you had I not owned land. And I'm not talking about a property. I say land as in plural, a plural meaning of the word land. And hell, if you don't go and buy land, it's too expensive for you to put that $1,000 down, well then buy a book on what I wrote about owning land, investing in land. You gotta figure something out and get tangible assets. If you can't pay $2,000 for a piece of gold, you can't pay $50 for a piece of silver, well then go buy a $20 book written by me, Phillip Davis, Getting Dollars from Dirt. The link is in the description section below. And you could keep waiting, keep spending money, keep wasting time, waiting for somebody to absolve your student loan debt, or you can try spending some money and putting it in the right place to change your life. What are you going to do? You can sit there and wait. You can go watch another TikTok video. That's what you're going to do. Remember, folks, own property or be owned as property. Question is, what do you own? That's all I have for you today. I'm your host, Phillip Davis. I hope you've been educated, enlightened, and least of all, entertained. I hope you've been challenged to make a decision. I hope you've been bothered enough to look around and do a self-check and say, I'm done waiting on others who never took a step to tell me when I could start stepping. What I'm going to do is start moving. I'm going to look for people who are on that journey to help be part of my team along the way. I'm going to like, share, subscribe to this video, this channel, and I'm going to make sure that I tune into the next one, right? So I can learn something and continuously learn and evolve myself. And maybe one day, I'll find a way to connect with Phillip Davis so I can talk about my journey and how we can make money together. And I would love that, boy. Woo. Any which way, folks, like, share, subscribe. I'm your host, Phillip Davis. Enlightened, educated, and least of all, entertained. Remember, own property or you'll be owned as property. Links to my books in the description section below. Phil Davis, and I'm out. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Phillip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.